I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Centerville Board of Education for March 23, 2020. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Here.
Dr. Rohr?
Here.
Mr. Schreier?
Here.
Megan Sparks?
Here.
Mr. Dahl?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and be seated. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Board of Education reports, legislative report, Mrs. Sparks.
House Resolution 6201, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, was signed into law by President Trump. Some items in this act include an emergency paid sick leave program that includes individuals unable to work because they are caring for a child who is home because of virus-related school closing, an expansion of federal food assistance for families affected by a virus-related school closure of 5 or more days. The bill permits states to provide emergency food stamp assistance to families whose child would otherwise have been eligible for receive free or reduced price school meals. The expansion of school meals. The resolution provides the U.S. Department of Agriculture new power to grant state waivers for federally subsidized school meals in the event of a school closure, including waivers to states that would want to distribute food in different settings outside of a school and allow flexibility on new meal components. That's the end of the report. And for the student board reps, they're just practicing washing their hands. So we're good.
Thank you, Mrs. Sparks. The next item on the agenda is notice to the public hearing date. Rehiring of a retired employee in Centerville City School District Board of Education hereby gives public notice in accordance with sections 3307.353 of the Ohio Revised Code that Ron Curry, currently employed in the district as a skilled maintenance position as a licensed plumber, and Banu Rahavan, occupational therapist, are seeking reemployment with the district in the same positions following retirement. The Board of Education will hold a public meeting on the issue of the above-named persons being reemployed in the district effective for the 2020-21 school year at 6:30 p.m. on April 20, 2020, in the School Possibilities Meeting Room 105 Virginia Avenue. That's a required notice of public hearing we have to have whenever we're dealing with a employee that wants to retire and then be rehired. And if anyone is interested, please come to the meeting on April 20 at 6:30 p.m. Anything else on that, Dr. Henderson?
No, I think you covered it, except I would like to add that this Board of Education has always looked closely at individuals who have been interested in retiring and rehiring in the same position. And when we have a person that has a unique skill set, like Ron, who is a licensed plumber, is also licensed to handle all of our boilers, and Banu, who is a occupational therapist, both of those individuals are people that have worked with us for a while and they have a good skill set that we're interested in. But the board also, as part of their procedures, is that we bring those individuals back on the very lowest basic step in their particular category. So it's an opportunity for the school district to maintain and retain some very skillful people in our district, some keeping good employees, but also at a much lower cost to the district. So they come in at the lowest salary level in their category, and it's a good deal for the school district.
So for the school district and obviously for the citizens, we're getting a very experienced person in each one of those positions at the lowest possible cost.
That's correct, definitely.
Next item on the agenda is hearing of the public. The Board of Education provides this as an opportunity, convenient opportunity for a public comment before any official action is taken. Anyone who's interested in come to the lectern, please state your name and address. If you're an adult, if you're a child, a minor, only your name. Please keep your comments to under 3 minutes because we have other items to discuss and decide upon tonight. Anybody interested in speaking? Paul?
True. Good evening, Paul Sefcik, 5777 Hither Green Drive, Dayton, Ohio. 2 months ago, Dr. Henderson commended the board for their longevity on the board, for members serving for over 20 years. And I certainly concur with that adds a sense of continuity from board to board, that we have the same train of thought. But my concern is there's also a danger in that, is that there is a set way of looking at things. So I want to offer some information from outside the box, if you would. The mean household income for Centerville, as reported, as I can find reported, was $63,524. Based on the 2019 W-2s that were issued by the school district for those teachers in category TCH, which constitutes 356 teachers, there are 9 teachers who earned in excess of $100,000 a year, or 0.025% of the 356. 101 teachers earned over $90,000, or 28% of that number. 49 of the 101 earned more than $95,000 a year. There's 109 teachers who earned over $80,000 a year, for about 30.6%. 43 teachers that earned over 70 for 12%. 47 teachers who earned over $60,000, or 13%, with only 17 of the 47 below the median household income for Centerville, and 47 teachers who earned less than $60,000, or 13%. Only 18% of the teachers in this category, TCH, earn less than the median household income of Centerville, and I presume that they are the new teachers coming into the system. According to the general fund ledger, the general fund budget, in the regular instruction category, the school district pays, in addition to salary, an additional 44.6 cents of every dollar paid for compensation as benefits. According to information that I can find on the internet, looking at 5 different sources, the average compensation level for benefits nationwide is 30%. So we're paying roughly 14.6 cents more than the national average. In my 40 years of managing P&Ls, I've never worked for a company where the employees had a better benefit package and salary package than the employers. And truly, the citizens of Centerville are the employers of the district's employees. In 2015, 14.9% of the population's of the nation's population was 65 or older, and that number has done nothing to increase. No senior wants to be taxed out of their home. What you do in this new teacher's contract will determine the impact of future property tax increases. I would like to remind you of the Travis Tritt song that goes, "Lord, have mercy on the working man." When you're working on this new contract, in particular the verse that goes, "The fat man's busy dancing while the thin man pays the band." I believe it's time to rein in the salaries and benefit packages extended to the school district employees by the citizens of Centerville. One more. Also, and so I think that we compensate our teachers competitively, and that they make a satisfactory level of earnings. At one point, I mentioned to Dr. Henderson, if you drive through a parking lot of any of the school districts and you look at where the teachers park, almost all the cars are the higher end cars, and they tend to be within 4 years of the model year. The bigger schools, I have no idea. But Dr. Henderson pointed out, well, that's insufficient information. You don't know what that really means. But when you look at the compensation levels that I pointed out, I think our teachers are compensated fairly. The other fact that I'd like that the board to remember when they're negotiating the contract is the teachers and the members of the school district are basically immune to the downturns in the economy. When the economy tanks, the jobs are secure. When the people who lose their jobs lose their benefits, the teachers and the people in the district generally retain theirs. Not always, but the majority of the time. That's a factor in the contract when you don't have to worry about losing and being displaced out of your income and your benefit package. So I'd ask you to please keep this in mind as you work on the proposed new contract, and to keep it in line with the mean average income of the people that are providing the revenue for these jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. think we may have some difference of opinion about some of the statistics you use, but we can discuss that privately if that's your desire to do that. But I think I agree with one thing that you said, and maybe you meant it in a different way. We also believe our staff, teachers, all of our staff are compensated fairly. Thank you. Any other persons wanting to speak? Okay. Next thing we have on the agenda is superintendent's reports.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our Director of Student Services, Tammy Derrick, to the podium. She's going to, this is an annual public notice that we do every year at this time. So Tammy will take just a few minutes and go through this public notice.
Thank you, Dr. Henderson and the board. Tonight, we're just going to talk a little bit about our homeless. We are required by the McKinney-Vento Act to, it should be. It is now. Okay, so we are required to make sure that our students that end up homeless continue to receive an education. And by doing so, we have to look at if they were living here when they became homeless, even if they end up in a different district, then where is the best place for them to continue their education? As educators, we often feel that the best place would be in the place that they started their education, which also goes with the McKinney-Vento Act. Right now, we have 23 students in the district who are homeless. 9 of those are residing still here in Centerville. We have 6 that actually reside in Dayton, 6 that are in Franklin County, and 1 that is in Kettering, and 1 that is in Miamisburg. So what does that mean for most of us is that the students that are not here in Centerville, we go and pick up and get them here every day when we are in a traditional setting. Right now it's a little bit different. But that also means now, you know, whether we're in session like we traditionally are, or whether we're currently doing remote learning, we have to make sure that they're having the same access as every other student. It does put a burden a little bit on our transportation, but it does keep the education of students consistent. If anyone thinks they know of someone that is homeless, they need to contact me. So it's Tammy Derrick, Director of Student Services, or the building principal, and we can actually get you assistance in any direction that you need. Are there questions?
Just to clarify, just so people know, when you say there are X number of people homeless, these are not people living in their cars necessarily. These are people that are maybe living with friends, relatives.
Or in a hotel.
Or in a hotel. So they're not homeless in a car in our district.
They are not living in a car.
They don't have a home.
Right, so some of them might be doubled up and living with either a family member or a friend. We do have a few homeless that are actually living in either a hotel or a shelter or a group home. But no, they are not living on the street. Other questions?
Tammy, did you say that you had 2 in Franklin County?
Yes.
How does the transportation department work that out?
Well, you meet people part way. So what actually happens is when a family becomes homeless or a child goes into foster care, then we work with the district that they are actually in, and you meet part way in order to get the student to school.
Thank you.
So just say that. So foster care students that may be in foster care in Franklin would still come here. They would not go to the school district where the foster care family is living?
That is usually the way that it works. So when a child is removed from a home here, or a parent loses custody when they are living here, then we become, and we go and we pick up those students, or we meet another district part way. Yeah.
Does the law
That's
does the
okay.
law designate any sort of maximum radius?
No. It's supposed to be within the best interest of the child. So if we actually had someone that, let's go to Cleveland, because that's obviously to try and even meet someone part way for Cleveland, because that's, you know, a good 3.5, 4 hours, isn't gonna make sense for students. But in most cases, I would say anywhere within about an hour and a half radius, then they end up staying here.
Would they have the option, if they're in Franklin, going to school in Franklin,
They
if they
do
so
have-
choose?
They do have that option. What happens though is a lot of times they don't want to switch schools. So either if parents can transport them, or there's a family member, or we go ahead and we transport.
We always ask this question, Tammy, so we have to provide some type of transportation, and who has to pay for that?
We pay for it,
Okay, and how
Centerville
much,
City Schools.
and how much of that would we get reimbursed?
Ooh, I'd have to try and look at a dollar amount. We don't get reimbursed the whole entire thing. In fact, the mileage is rather low for the transportation we do for students.
That's always the case, we never get reimbursed what
No,
the cost is.
that
What's
is true.
additional cost that we have. Thank you.
But again, we're still doing what's in the best interest of the student, and we should continue to do that.
We are doing what's in the best interest of the student. We are also mandated by law to
Right.
do it. But in cases, honestly, we look at what is best for the child.
Sure.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
Good evening. No official report tonight, but I do want to assure the board that during the school closure, the treasurer's office is still functioning. We're doing as much remotely as possible, but we are on site as needed for essential functions.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone makes sure everything gets paid like we have to pay all of our bills, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is treasurer's recommendations. We need a motion to consider approving the February 2020 financial statements, including the monthly financial report, fund activity report, appropriations report, general funding spending report, general fund summary, general fund summary comparison, the POs, POs included in statement number 7 approved by administration, then and now certified by the treasurer, and supported by board resolution totaling $107,528.28.
So moved.
Second?
Anybody got any comments, questions? Laura?
Just one quick comment. I did email revised statement 1 to you this afternoon. There's some reconciling differences and some deposits that we were able to reconcile at the end of the month, so.
Everyone received that, correct?
Yes.
No questions, then call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings: February 24, 2020 regular meeting, March 16, 2020 work session.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is superintendent recommendations. Superintendent recommends accepting resignations as listed on Schedule A. Superintendent recommends the employment, change of employment status, or change of contract status for certificated personnel listed on Schedule B for the salary programs on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment or change of employment status for support staff personnel listed on Schedule C for the salary programs on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment of the personnel listed on Schedules D and D1 for supplemental contracts or extra duty assignments. The superintendent recommends the granting of leaves of absence for personnel listed on Schedule E for the reasons and on the dates given.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. The motion pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G4, that the board adjourn to executive session for the review of negotiations with employees concerning compensation, No other business will be conducted except to come out of executive session to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll, please.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. We will be in executive session shortly. Thank you, everybody, for coming.